big boy. So I'm thinking Trayvon Walker real quick, Texans defensive line. I like what Texans are doing. I think they got the right guy at the helm. I don't think Davis Mills is the answer, but I think they'll cross that bridge. So I'm going to say they beef up that defensive line and get Trayvon Walker. Fade or follow me, Big Mike.
I am going to follow you. I think they will draft Walker. I agree with you. I like what Caserio is doing there. Starting to rebuild, trading away Watson, getting the picks, and just got to go from the ground up, and that's a good start.
Right on. Hear my baby crying in the background. You guys hear that? He is
pissed. I think I'm going to have to follow you guys with Trayvon Walker.
Okay. All right, right on, Don. I knew you had some sense to you. All right, New York Jets. Don, I'm going to kick this one over to you, man. So the Jets are on the clock at pick number 4. They got Zach Wilson as their franchise quarterback, although I don't know if you guys seen him play the Patriots. Not looking bueno. No good. What do they do at pick number 4?
I think they go with a Keon.
Who?
Keon.
The fuck is that?
He's an edge rusher from Oregon.
Where do you keep?
What's his name?
Kayvon.
Kayvon.
I was close.
You can't fucking read, man. You go to a public school?
No.
What's his last name? Do you know? Can you pronounce it? You need help? Sound it out. Fucking A.
Thibodeaux.
No. Thibodeau. Fucking A. All right, so what's his name?
Keon.
Keon Thibodeau?
That's right.
And what position?
He's an edge rusher.
From where?
Oregon.
Okay, let's just leave it at that because I don't want you to have to try to fill in the cracks with any information. Big Mike, I'll kick it over to you, my dude. Who are you taking at number 4?
Oh, my God.
That's tough to follow, I know.
I think Thibodeau is going to slide a little bit here. Not much, but I like the Jets drafting offensive line help for Zach Wilson. As you can see, especially against the AFC East last year, he was running for his life. He got hurt.
No doubt.
I like Ekamanu from NC State.
I swear to God, it's like Mike looked at my computer because I'm going to follow him. Ekanwu from NC State. Same thing that I had. Jets definitely need to protect Zach Wilson. The man was running for his life. Plus, they got a pick at number 10, so depending on what their needs are, which in my opinion, they need to work on that defense, especially with Robert Saleh as still their head coach. But I think at number 4, they got to go offensive line, protect their franchise, and that's who I also think that they go with. So, leaves the New York Football Giants at pick number 5. Now, this is a tricky one because when I was doing my mock draft, I thought, like, if anyone was going to trade, because everybody, when you get desperate for needs of a quarterback, like, you overreach, right? So I look at teams like Pittsburgh, Carolina, Seattle, teams that need quarterbacks. I was like, who's going to reach, and would the Giants trade back, which I could see them doing. But for the sake of the mock draft, I put that they would pick Sauce Gardner, cornerback from Cincy. So if they lose Bradbury because of his contract is so much dead money on the salary cap, they already lost Logan Ryan. He went to Tampa. So in my opinion, they got to strengthen that defense. I know it's not sexy because it's not an offensive pick, but I do see the Giants taking Sauce Gardner, cornerback from Cincinnati. So fade or follow me, Don.
I'm going to say fade. I think they need some offensive line to protect Jones.
Yeah, but I feel like they've been working on an offensive line for like 5 years.
And plus, I mean, they got 2 draft picks in the first round. They got 5 and 7, so I think they're going to get some offensive help.
So who are they drafting?
That's a fucking fair question. Mike's going to like my number 7 pick.
It's a good question. You can pass over to Mike. I got to think about this for a minute.
All right, Big Mike, I'll go to you.
I know you're staying true to mock draft form, but I'm going to throw a curveball. I'm going to say the Giants trade back.
Okay.
And they get Seattle's first 2 picks, and Seattle's going to draft Willis out of Liberty.
All right. Listen, I could see it happening, so it's not that I disagree with that pick by any means.
I think they need to do that so they can jump over Carolina, Pittsburgh, because Carolina, just gonna face it, Sam Darnold's not the answer in
No,
Carolina.
and I'm going to talk about that with my next pick because that's exactly where I was going. But Big D, I'll go to you. Did you see? What are you thinking with the Giants pick at 5?
The guy said you got to pick for 4, but I can't pronounce his name.
Got it.
No.
Amanu Iki
I
Ekwonu.
think he falls down to the Giants.
Okay, all right, that's fair. All right, pick number 6. So this is where I think Malik Willis will fall off the board. Now, I look at this and I'm worried about this pick because Matt Rule, Panthers head coach, is definitely on the hot seat. So if he doesn't at least make the playoffs or at least contend for a playoff spot, he's probably not going to be there. So this pick could be dicey. But I think they take Malik Willis, but it's not that I could see them not taking Kenny Pickett from Pittsburgh either. If you want to win now, they need a quarterback not in this draft class. So they need to make a trade, right? Call up, see what they want for Baker, whatever the case is. But if they're going to draft a quarterback for the future and they're willing to take it on as a project, it's definitely Malik Willis from Liberty because desperate teams do desperate things, and I think it's a make or break year for Matt Rule, so I don't like the pick. But I could see them also drafting Kenny Pickett, so I'm going to say it's 1A, 1B, but I'm going to say they take Malik Willis out of Liberty. I don't know if you guys saw his pro day, but he actually had a really strong pro day today. So I'll kick it over to Magic Mike. Number 6, Carolina Panthers.
This is where I think they draft Thibodeau. Panthers always do good on defense. Like Kuechly, they lost
Gilmore.
They lost Gilmore. They lost
AJ Bouye.
I don't know if they lost Burns. They still have Burns. They lost one of their linebackers.
Yeah, I think it might have been Burns.
They lost one of the linebackers. I know Thibodeau is not a linebacker, but he can help out in defense. I know people want to say quarterback here, but I think it's a little too early for them to get quarterback. So I would say Thibodeau.
Yeah, I mean, they could also trade out of that pick, right, and fall back. Maybe they trade back with Seattle or Atlanta, right, just to move back a couple picks.
Pittsburgh.
Right, because, I mean, Atlanta could be looking for a quarterback, right? Seattle's going to be looking for a quarterback, so...
Wow, you don't think Mariota's going to do it in Atlanta?
I personally... So here's the deal. I like Marcus a lot, and I think under... what is this dude's name? Their head coach, who was in Tennessee when he had him... I forgot his name. Arthur. Thank you. Arthur Smith. I actually think Mariota can do something. So I don't think he's trash by any means. That's my opinion. Donnie G. Who do you have? I was going with John because like Don hasn't been answering good questions. So I was just making my shit up. But who do you got the Panthers picking at number 6?
I think they take Kenny Pickett.
So you're gonna go Kenny Pickett.
Yes, that is correct, from Pittsburgh.
The quarterback who has the smallest hands in the draft.
Yeah. But they made such a big deal because the dude's hands grew like an eighth of an inch. Listen, my pecker grows like 4 inches, right? But you don't hear like fucking like TMZ reporting that shit, you know. So I don't know if an eighth of an inch is big in football world, but like. I mean, and listen, as men, like that ain't really big. So I don't know what we're bragging for. So, all right, number 7, Giants are back on the clock. I'm gonna say, and Mike, you're gonna like this pick. I'm gonna say they take your boy Jermaine Johnson from Florida State, 6'5", 254. He's the number 4 edge rusher on Mel Kiper's big board. They need pass rushers, and he's coming off of a really good season with Florida State. So I think the Giants are going to capitalize on both picks. Sauce Gardner, cornerback, and then they follow that with Jermaine Johnson from Florida State. And I like what the Giants will do while trying to beef up that defense. So, fade or follow me, Big Donnie.
I think I'm going to follow you with Jermaine Johnson.
Okay.
And some edge rusher, too.
All right, right on. A lot of content coming out of Don, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of content. He's a man of few words, okay? He's like a lunar eclipse. You don't see him very often, but when you do, it's special. So, Big Mike, I'll kick it over to you.
I'm going to agree.
Hell yeah.
Of course, with my trade, this is the Giants' first pick for me. for the draft because I had him trading out.
Right.
So, yeah, I like that pick. He was a stud last year for Florida State in a somewhat disappointing year. Trust me, I had a couple of those seasons lately. You being an Auburn fan, you've been there before.
No doubt.
So,
yeah. I know what disappointment's like for sure.
I like the Johnson pick for the Giants.
That's fair. All right, so that brings us to the Dirty Birds, Atlanta Falcons, on the clock at pick number 8. Here's what I'll say. They need a quarterback because is Mariota just a bridge? Who knows? I think this is where it gets dicey in the draft. If Kenny Pickett doesn't go here, I could see Kenny Pickett sliding. I get the hands are small, but he'd be playing in the dome. So this is 100% me. If I was Atlanta's GM, I would take Kenny Pickett out of Pittsburgh. He's playing in the dome. He gets to play Tampa. Very nice weather. Doesn't have to face that, right? You play them once a year. You play in the dome against them in your home game. You play in New Orleans, dome. You play in Carolina, not terrible weather, right? So 8 games, just right there, you're in a dome or in decent weather stadiums. So plus, and then you start playing in other NFC teams, right? Like Dallas, dome. San Francisco, nice weather. So I look at all that. I think for Atlanta, they need a quarterback of the future. I think Mariota can still be the guy because I don't think you sign him to a contract without him not being the guy. So maybe you sit Kenny Pickett. But I'm going to say they take Kenny Pickett, Pittsburgh. That is the number 8 pick from the Atlanta Dirty Bird Falcons. So, Big D, I will kick it over to you. Where do you see the Falcons taking? Who do you see them taking at number 8?
My personal opinion, I think they take the wide receiver from Ohio State, Garrett Wilson, to replace Ridley.
Okay. That's another good pick. Because I totally forgot. You can have a great quarterback, but you still need a wide receiver to throw it to.
Especially with Ridley gone, I think they take the Ohio State wide receiver.
All right.
At number 8, and I think they pass up on the quarterback.
All right, that's totally. Honestly, that's pretty good. That's pretty good logic. So, Big Mike, I'm gonna ask you what your take is on the Atlanta Dirty Falcons.
I think the Dirty Birds are gonna go with Pickett, like you said. If they don't draft him here, or Pittsburgh doesn't want the hometown kid and trade up, I think he'll probably slide to Pittsburgh, whatever. Pittsburgh's pick or Washington.
Yeah, I agree. I just think like this. I mean, you don't take Kenny Pickett if you 100% don't believe that he's the future quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. So, as I think about it more, because they just got Mariota, they have not done shit in free agency to address really the wide receiver position. Do they go wide receiver? It would make sense. I wouldn't be mad at it. I just think you got to have that. If you really like one of these 3 top quarterbacks in this draft, now's your chance to pull that trigger. Because obviously at 4 last year, they obviously didn't. They went Kyle Pitts. So that's where I'm going to go. So let's talk Seattle. So Big Mike, I'm going to kick this over to you to start. So Seattle has that pick from Denver. Where do you see Seattle going with this?
Actually, for me, it is not going to be Seattle.
Oh, you had that trade.
It's going to be the Giants. And for the Giants, I would like them to see them pick going defense again. Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame, the safety, because they need defensive help, especially in the backfield. They do not have Peppers anymore.
Yep.
He signed with the Patriots.
Yep.
And I think Hamilton will step right in. He was a good lockdown defender last year for Notre Dame, so I think he'll fit in right on the Giants.
All right, fair enough. Big D, I'll kick it over to you.
I think they need some offensive line, so I'm going to go with Charles Cross, because even though they don't have a right quarterback, but I think they're going to need some offensive line. You got to start somewhere.
Donnie looking at my notes. I'm going to follow Don. So Kenny Pickett's already off the board. Malik Willis is off the board. That leaves pretty much Ritter at this point. Too early for Ritter to go for my liking at number 9. So I'm going to say for Seattle, if they lose Dwayne Brown, which all reports indicate they're going to, lose Dwayne Brown, they need to solidify that offensive line. So I'm going to also say that they take Charles Cross, offensive lineman. Number 9 is going to be a Seattle Seahawk. Number 10, rounding out the top 10, rounding out this first episode of 4